So Reverend Greta, come join us, please.
Thank you so much. I love coming here, and I'm so delighted for you as a congregation that you have done the work that you've done, and you've done the visioning and the prayer, and that you have attracted this wonderful minister to come here. Reverend Carol is amazing, and she's so lucky to get you, and you're so lucky to get her. And I'm really, really delighted, and I have loved coming to share with you these 5 times that I've been here, and I thought, wow, this is what an opportunity this is for me to have this chance to come to share. And I welcome the new first-time visitor also. We're so happy to have you. And the last time that I was here, you were a first-time minister, and she's been here ever since. And there's such enthusiasm. I just have always felt so welcome here and so grateful to be here. So I want to thank you, and I do want to, some miracles have been happening in my life, and I thought, I want to talk about that. And I think that if you go by the dictionary, a miracle is an event or an effect that happens in the physical world that wouldn't ordinarily be expected to be happening. It's something like out of the ordinary. Sometimes people think that miracles break the laws of the universe, but actually I think that they are a result of a higher law that we may not be always aware of. And I know that we have the miracles that happen in sacred texts, especially many of us know the Christian Bible and the stories there about the master teacher who walked on the water and healed the sick and raised the dead. And even when he wasn't even thinking about it, when he was just walking on the road, and this woman that had an issue with blood, she just wanted to touch the hem of his garment. And he felt the energy move through him towards her. He wasn't planning to do anything for her, but she was healed simply by touching the hem. So maybe there's an opportunity for us this morning to touch the hem of something sacred and wonderful, to remember something about who it is that we really are. And that, I think we may discover, is a miracle. Everything could be a miracle. Einstein says that you could live your life in 2 different ways. One, that everything is a miracle, and one that nothing is a miracle. And you reap the effect of making that choice for yourself. But I'm leaning closer to everything is a miracle. That we're sitting here this morning, that we woke up this morning. I have this favorite thing that I think about, this saying that says, when I awake, I'm still with thee. That when you woke up this morning, the Spirit of God was right where you are, whether or not you knew it, whether or not you planned on it. But because you're made in the spiritual image and likeness and out of the presence of God, wherever you are, God must be. And God is the source of all good. God created everything perfectly, exactly in its spiritual essence. And that is who we are here as miracles. Either miracles in the making or miracles in the moment. But miracle nevertheless. So yesterday, when I was thinking about this talk, I went to sit down in this chair that I usually meditate in, and I saw peeking out from underneath the chair, there were some cards that have fallen out of a box, a box of cards that you can pull, and it means something for your life or something that you can intuit. And I thought, well, if everything is a miracle, these cards must have something to do with this talk. And so I picked them up in the order that I found them, and I read, the first one said belonging, and the second one said accepting. The third said spirit quest. The fourth said splendor, and the fifth said fulfillment. And I was thinking about how belonging, for me, I see myself belonging to a tribe or a group of people that believe in miracles. Because people that don't believe in miracles don't have much contact or experience of them. There's something in us that if you believe, then you can believe in miracles, you can experience miracles. And then The idea of accepting, really accepting the truth that who I am is a miracle in the moment and in the making. That this is the truth of my being, regardless of what any other experiences or people have told me about who and what I am. That I am the essence of something as wondrous as a miracle. And then the idea of a spiritual quest, that this could be part of a spiritual quest, couldn't it? Seeking to see the miracles that everybody else is taking for granted and thinking that nothing special is happening. But as part of what my life is about is looking to see the good. And miracles are always good. They always light us up. They always bring brilliance into our life. And that's where the splendor comes in. That when you're thinking about a miracle that happened, there's something about it that just fills you with such delight and joy. Splendor. And the last thing was fulfillment. Well, what's a life without splendor, without joy, without miracles? A life with miracles is fulfillment itself. I can stop struggling and striving and trying to make things happen, and I can accept and belong with what has already happened in my life that is miraculous. So, the topic that came to me was 1 for me, 2 for you, miracle in the making. And I don't know, 2 for you just sounded like, well, the Spirit of God is continuing to evolve and to multiply and to increase. Nothing is stagnant. So if I'm aware of myself as one miracle, with you, the 2 of us make 2, and then the bunch of us make 2 or more gathered together, right, who know this truth. So I was thinking about myself, things that happened in my life and before my life that actually were miracles that I wasn't aware. Maybe even some of these things felt like disasters instead of miracles. But when I go back to my ancestors, and I think about my ancestors that survived the Middle Passage, that came over from another country on a slave ship. And they weren't among those that jumped overboard or were thrown overboard. They survived to come here. And they survived the auction block, and they survived the working in the fields. Some of them did, because if they didn't, I wouldn't be here. And you wouldn't be looking at me or listening to me. But that was a miracle that happened in my life that made it possible for me to be here. And then I think about my mother's father, my grandfather. When he was a little boy, he was so soon out of the time of slavery that it was against the law to teach a little black boy to read. But I understand that some people broke the law. And the story goes that someone built an outhouse that had wooden slats in it that let the sunlight in so that my grandfather could be inside the outhouse and see from the light of the sun to read the books that someone gave him to learn. And he grew up to be an attorney and taught himself to read, but somebody also, really helped him. That was a miracle in my life because I'm a person that can also read. When I got to high school, it was decided that I didn't need to be in the college preparatory classes. I could just take the other classes because the college classes, they had so many students in them already, they were full. And there wasn't room for me to take college prep English, although I really wanted to. And another teacher said, I'll put another chair in my classroom and I'll take Greta in the classroom. That was a miracle in my life. And I have always blessed and thanked her for that. And there are so many other things that I didn't even know about that happened. But I can tell you that at some time in my adult life, I started being afraid of a lot of things. And I have what could be called anxiety attacks. I was driving from a long ways. I had been knitting and crocheting all day, and I hadn't eaten anything, and my blood sugar was dropping. And around the same time my blood sugar dropped, the car started overheating. And that took me into a full-blown panic attack. And after that, I couldn't drive to the store. But you know what? I drove my car for over 2 hours yesterday so I could be here. And I knew that I could do it, and I knew that it was safe, and I knew that you would be here, and I knew that we'd be having this conversation. And that was a miracle. in my life, so many miracles. And so, I don't know about you. I don't know what in your life has been miraculous. I don't know what may have happened in your life that you thought was a disaster. But maybe looking through this lens of the infinite possibility of good in your life, you can think of something that happened that you realize now was a miracle, that it made it possible for you to wake up this morning and to be right here where you are. Out of all the places that you could be, that you're here, that you're breathing, that you're alive, that you have found your place to this way of life that promises to be fulfilling and blissful and joyful, that you are yearning to live in a world that works for everyone, a world that's full of peace and harmony and prosperity and health and wholeness. And here you are. And the odds, I imagine, I understand, were between 1 and 600 million that you would be who you are today. That is a miracle when you think about it. And also I'm hearing, this old saying that God don't make no junk. God knew what she or he was doing when it created you in its spiritual image and likeness. When it decided this infinite particle of energy and this infinite particle of energy come together and through the miracle of creation bring you forth into this expression. So if you have thought of something or you could think of something that was a miracle in my life, I'm going to invite you just to hold it close, because when a miracle happens, it feels like such a blessing, and it is such a blessing. And it's a shame to waste a blessing or a miracle in your life. I'm thinking about that picture that shows every year around Christmas time. It's called It's a Wonderful Life. Everybody's seen it a billion times. It's one of my favorite movies because, he says he wishes he was never born, and then he gets the wish. And then he sees all the things that wouldn't have happened that were wonderful that happened because he was born. And so it is with you, and so it is with me. That not only, the space and the way it's been prepared for you by other people, you're preparing the space and the way for the people that are coming after you and the people that are right now in your life. That's so wonderful to imagine that, to think about that. So we can think of miracles as being something extraordinary. Or I found this Chinese Zen master from the 6th century, and he said, "My daily affairs are quite ordinary, but I'm in total harmony with them. I don't hold onto anything, and I don't reject anything. Nowhere is there an obstacle or conflict. Who cares about wealth and honor? Even the poorest thing shines. My miraculous power and spiritual activity, drawing water and carrying wood," meaning that even common things can be thought about in an uncommon way. Things that you do in your everyday life can be thought of as miraculous things because truly they are. I also found this idea of thinking of everything being a miracle. It's been buoying me up this whole weekend as I've been thinking about this, and little things have been coming to me. Even little things that kind of bothered me, I realized that was a miraculous thing for me to see. That's bothering me, but I can go another place. I can make a higher choice and be bothered by that right now. And that's miraculous, a miraculous place of growing. And I found this quote by Voltaire, and he says, "All is a miracle. The stupendous order of nature, the revolution of 100 million worlds around 1,000,000 stars, the activity of light, the life of all animals, everything, all are grand and perpetual miracles, ongoing miracles, not something that just shows up once and it's over. Every breath that you take is a miracle. Every time your heart beats, a million billion times in a lifetime, every time you blink your eyes. There are people that can't blink their eyes, and it's not to make the contrast with something that we don't want, to realize what it is that we have that we do want. But your eyes are blinking, and you're thinking, and you're listening, and you're contemplating, and you're getting a new idea around what it is to be a miracle. Has anybody ever told you in your life that you're a miracle? I don't mind being the first. They just didn't know, right? So this idea of the life of all animals, one time I was here talking about a rooster in the parking lot. I don't know, some of the times, but some of these miracles that I've been having, they show up in my life as animals because I have this kinship, with that part. So, one of my girls gets this call that there's a kitten that is hurt and lost in a parking lot, and it's young, and nobody knows what to do. People are standing around looking at it. Nobody knows what to do. So, all my girls know what to do. So she went, and in the white blouse that she had on, she got down on the ground and underneath the car and pulled out this little kitten who was dirty and sick and very, very limp. And she brought it home, and it was covered with fleas, and it had mange, and it was just really, really sad to see it. And she gave it a bath and started taking the fleas off and started preparing something to feed it because it was too weak to eat. It was very young, maybe 6 or 7 weeks. And the only thing that we could give it at that point was a little bit of syrup in water in a syringe. And she put it in, she put it in the kitten's mouth. But when she was preparing all that, it was just wrapped in this towel and really not moving. But I just sat with it, and I prayed with it, and I rocked it, and I didn't know what was going to happen, but I knew that prayer is miraculous and loving energy heals everything. And it wasn't moving very much. I couldn't really tell if it was alive or not. But it did make it through that day, which happened to be a Sunday. She took it to the vet the next day. The vet did x-rays. The vet said 2 legs were broken. And in truth, the kitten was dragging 1 leg. But 1 leg was healing itself automatically. It was broken, you could tell, but it was healing. And the other leg, she said that there was no feeling in the leg. And she said, if the kitten makes it, we should probably amputate it because there's nothing. But you know what? In 3 days after syringe feeding every couple of hours, that is the most beautiful kitten you ever want to see. The mange is falling off. It looks like a little Siamese with little brown points and the bluest eyes I've ever seen. And it's healing, and it's purring, and it's meowing. And I believe that something is happening with that leg, because I do believe in miracles. And if there's no feeling in it and it's not hurting, but somehow we can kind of stand it up on the all 4 legs. It doesn't stay there, but it's because the muscle is weak. It's going to make the most beautiful pet for someone when it's able to go. And my daughter named it True. She spells it T-R-U, but it's true to its destiny. That people talk about cats having 9 lives, and it's probably used up about 7. But it's a miracle that it's thriving, and it's happy, and it's okay. And the miracle could be, well, people are standing around looking at this kitten and not knowing what to do. Somehow the Spirit of God sends a message to somebody to call my daughter, and she knows what to do. So there you have that. That's one animal miracle. And here's another animal miracle. That, how do I share this one? That a possum, those possums, they look kind of like big rats. But, this possum got run over. I didn't know that possums are marsupials. They have a pouch like a kangaroo does. And this possum that was not alive, when they checked in the pouch, there were 6 baby possums inside. Someone called this woman that lives in Hermosa Beach, that didn't know anything about possums until she found one and started reading about them. And they gave her, the city or the shelter, whoever it was, gave her the 6 possums. They all died except for one. And just like a kitten, she gave syringe feedings every 2 hours to this one possum who survived. And because she found out that they belong in a pouch and that the mother carries them everywhere, believe it or not, when she went to work, this little possum that's so small that you could hold in your hand, I went out to see it, she put it in her bra so that it would have a pouch and it would have the warmth and it would feel the heartbeat. And when the 2 hours were up, she would just go and feed the little possum, and it is thriving. And the last picture that I got from her was she has 4 possums now, and they're all rescues. And her little children help her, and they know all about taking care of a possum. Well, that possum that survived out of the 6, and even though the mother was gone, that was a miracle, wasn't it? Yeah, so here's a miracle about a friend of mine, a wonderful friend that is a practitioner. And over a week ago, she had triple bypass open heart surgery. And I saw her before the surgery, and she said, you know, Greta, I'm not afraid. She said, I know that, you know, I'll be unconscious, and I'll either pass over to the other side and I'll be fine, or I'll pass over to this side and I'll be fine. And so for a period of almost maybe 10 days, you know, we were praying and knowing the truth about her. And I thought about the opportunity to come and to share with you the miracle of her waking up and recovering, and this prayer sustaining her. And you know, I went to see her, and I was with her when she decided that she would pass over to the other side. I can tell you that that was a miracle because I was standing right there with her. And the energy that we shared as she was passing over was so amazing, and it was so beautiful, and it was so powerful. And as I thought about her and I wanted to speak to her, I realized I didn't have to speak to her far away somewhere like in heaven. When I was speaking to her, it was just like I'm just speaking to her right here. She's right here with me. And she had a beautiful sense of humor, and she was a powerful practitioner that really was strong with Joel Goldsmith's teachings. But my sense was that she was laughing, and she was saying, Greta, it's just like we thought. You know, this is not the end of anything. And that is a miracle, that our life, we're not born into it. It doesn't end anywhere. It seems to change. It continues to evolve, and we do get to this place where we decide it's best to leave this body where it is and to take up a body of light, and that's exactly what happens. And I'm grateful. I'm so grateful that I was there, and I'm grateful that I can share this with you. I believe that you have a sense of what I'm saying and that you can feel it. And you have maybe already, many of us have people that have laid down the body and picked up another body and moved on. And there is sadness and there is a sense of loss. But joy comes in the moment, in the miracle moment of knowing that this life is eternal, that it has no beginning and no end. And that is the miracle life that we are living. I get to praise God for that. I get to thank God for this life. So I want to encourage you to acknowledge the miracles that have happened in your life and to hold them close. And if you're thinking, I don't know, I can't think of any miracles in my life, just take a breath and realize that is a miracle. That is a miracle. This is so funny that sometimes, we think of miracles happening to other people, like somebody got healed or they got saved or they got forgiven. Somebody won the lottery, somebody won a prize or some kind of a race, or they won a case in court, or they won a war. Something miraculous happened that they didn't expect. And we project it out there and think that we're maybe looking at it or hearing it, but we've been in so many different places and spaces and situations in our lives. We've been so many different things. I can think of in my life a time that I've been oppressed, and I can think of a time when I've been the oppressor. And maybe you can too. Think of a time that you've been a victim and a time that you've been victorious. Thinking of a time where you had a home and a time where you felt like you didn't have any place to call your home. All of those experiences that we have all had moving through this curriculum that is our life. So again, I say, well, what about you? Because miracles grow out of difficulties and challenges, and don't we have plenty of those? Like if there weren't for challenges and difficulties, there wouldn't be any need for a miracle. So we can take the challenges and difficulties and use them as an opportunity to remember this is a place that I could change my mind, that I could see what's happening from a higher perspective. I'm realizing that a miracle is in the eye of the beholder, just like beauty is, right? That you can behold something that's happening and know that it's part of a miracle in the making, that you can be available to seeing and knowing that you can attune yourself, that you can think of yourself as a person that believes in miracles because you experience them all the time. So this idea of BYOB, is that it? Is what? Bring your own beer, bring your own booze. So what about MYOM? Make your own miracle. Would that be good? I was driving Friday on the 405, and I was kind of late to an appointment, and my phone rang, and I didn't know who it was, but I answered. And I asked who it was, and the person told me their name, and then they started telling me they were calling me, wanting to sell me some soap or something. I said something like, with a lot of feeling, you don't have permission to call me on this phone. I would like you to take me off of your list. And she said, all right, and she hung up, and after that I thought, oh, I could have said that in a much nicer way. I could have said, I really would like you to take me off this list. Please don't call me. But that wasn't the energy. The energy was like irritation and annoyance that this person who's just trying to make a living the best way that she knows, there was something in me that couldn't see in a moment. So in that moment, I missed the miracle. But it was a great teaching too, because it tells me, I can do more. I can keep growing. I can keep allowing myself to be more accepting and more compassionate and more understanding. So think about the opportunity of making your own miracles and not missing so many of them. That this idea that we have been so many things in this lifetime and other lifetimes, like you've been royal and you've been rural, and everything in between, all of these experiences, you've been probably an untouchable in a lifetime, maybe impeachable, maybe incorrigible, maybe unreachable. All of these things, experiences that we have going through this lifetime, all of them are instructive. All of them are part of something that we are here, that our soul wants to learn. So you're in a sanctuary, you're in a church. You may have been in a prison. You may have been in a garden. You may have been in a cave like the children in Thailand. You may have been in a cage like the children that are separated from their parents. You may have been in an abusive relationship. You may have been in an open marriage. You may have been in a 12-step program or a 6-step or 5-step prayer. But we're here, and we're now, and we're waking up to this miraculous moment. There's something empowering about innocence, about not needing to know everything or understand everything. There's something empowering about just being available to the good that's here to express through your life. Yes, here we are. This is the choice that we have made. I want to encourage you to not only count your blessings, but to acknowledge the miracle of your life and to give thanks for it, because you know whatever you give thanks for multiplies. The more you bless your life, the more you bless the miracles that are happening everywhere, you begin to realize the miracles that are happening right where you are. I am grateful for the miracle that you are. I am grateful for the opportunity to see the miracle of my life reflected in your life. Even as you're sitting there and thinking, you know, she sounds a little nuts. Or, you know, she's saying some interesting things. Whatever it is, I'm calling it good, and I'm giving thanks for it, as I am giving thanks for you and for this spiritual community, for the miracle that it is everywhere. Because what happens here doesn't stay here. The miracle of you is that your goodness, your radiance is shared without boundary. Just like the woman that touched the hem of the garment when the master teacher didn't even know it was his radiance. It was the miraculous essence of who he is and who you are. I thank God for you, and I thank you for being, and I thank you for being here. And I invite you to join me in a closing prayer for this part of the service, if you will. If you choose to close your eyes or keep them open, whatever works for you. I invite you to take with me a miraculous breath, to breathe in the Spirit of God, to allow the Spirit of God to have its perfect way with you, to allow yourself to be one with the power and presence that is everywhere, that created you and everything else out of itself and called it all good. Each one of us here is a divine emanation of the only thing that is, and a miraculous expression of it. A miraculous expression. I'm grateful to speak this word, to be here as an instrument for the word and the will and the way of God, and to know that you also, everyone here, is an instrument, an avenue, a place and a space for the face of God to reveal itself. And I give thanks for this. I give thanks for this opportunity for us to bless one another. I give thanks for the opportunity to bless the I am of each one of us. And to know that where you are, the Spirit of God is revealing itself. That there is no separation. That there are no chosen people. We are all the chosen of God. This presence loves us as if we were the only one to love, and created each one of us with our own set of challenges and opportunities, blessings and miracles. I'm blessing everyone here. I'm blessing this spiritual community. I'm blessing spiritual community everywhere. I'm grateful that peace prevails on this planet, and that it grows in influence, that the peace, the prevailing peace, blesses us all. That there is here harmony and love and compassion. that there is here healing, miraculous healing and wholeness and holiness, that there is here abundance and prosperity and generosity, that there is here great love. Love is who we are. God is love, and we are made in the spiritual image and likeness of love. We are here to declare it, to affirm it, to share it, to experience it, to give thanks for it. And so for this and for so much more, blessing all the animals, blessing all the plants, blessing all the children, blessing all the teens, blessing all the adults, blessing all the elders, blessing all the ancestors, and blessing the descendants. We give thanks for this one life, eternally good, miraculously magnificent. And in agreement together we say, and so it is. Amen. Bless you.